8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. The Prime Minister says Sri Lanka and Bangladesh have long history of strong bilateral ties. Prime Minister Mahinda also emphasizes that as a neighbour and a close friend, Sri Lanka stands side by side with Bangladesh to achieve greater freedom and prosperity. Foreign Minister says allegations made against us at the Geneva Human Rights Council are politically biased. Minister Kelia Rambukwelle alleges that the previous Yahapalana government spent 317 million rupees only for fake propaganda activities. Minister of Environment pays attention on the complaints received with regard to destruction of Singaraja forest preservation sites. Sri Lanka reports 283 more COVID-19 recoveries. 58 COVID-19 cases from an elder's home in Battaramulla. In news overseas, US and China trade angry words at high-level Alaska talks. And in sports news, Palle to host 2 Sri Lanka-Bangladesh tests starting on April 21st. Those are the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the local news. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that Sri Lanka and Bangladesh have a long history of strong bilateral ties. The Premier made these remarks while participating in an event celebrating the birth centenary of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and Golden Jubilee of the independence of Bangladesh. The Prime Minister stated that he was delighted to participate in an occasion of historic significance for the people of Bangladesh. Before, he also thanked Her Excellency Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for her cordial invitation to his delegation and the warm welcome given on arrival. Despite many challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, the Premier said that he joined the Bangladeshi people with a message of solidarity from the people of Sri Lanka. The friendly relations between the two countries have a long history. Many scholars believe that the first migration from Bengal arrived in Sri Lanka through a maritime route as far as back as 2,500 years ago. It is also believed that Sri Lanka and Bangladesh had vibrant trade exchanges since the 6th century before Christ. Quite naturally, Sri Lanka was one of the first countries to establish diplomatic relations with the new nation of People's Republic of Bangladesh in the year 1971. The people of Bangladesh are celebrating 2 historic events. One is the birth of the father of their nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, a century ago. And the second is the birth of Bangladesh a half a century ago. Both events are worthy of celebrations. The Premier also said that in this 21st century, with the great aspiration of Asian prosperity, new generations need to be aware of the countless sacrifices made by their forefathers to achieve freedom. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa stated that as a neighbour and a close friend, Sri Lanka stands side by side with Bangladesh to achieve greater freedom and prosperity. Our objective of economic transformation, eradication of poverty and achieving the sustainable development goals remain the key priorities in the middle of the great challenge. Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that the allegations of human rights abuses in Sri Lanka by several countries including the UK, Canada and Germany is an action taken for political purposes, concealing the truth. The vote is scheduled to be held on the 22nd of March 2021 on the allegations made by several countries against Sri Lanka at the 46th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva. Responding to a question raised by the journalist at the Foreign Ministry in this regard today, the Minister pointed out that it is not only the responsibility of an internationally recognized Human Rights Council to accuse or take a vote on the internal affairs of our country. Over the years, various allegations have been leveled against our country, alleging human rights abuses. We have been cautious about this. After our government was elected, a presidential commission has been appointed to investigate the human rights allegations. Funds have been allocated for the budget to activate the Office of the Missing Persons. While the present government was taking a number of positive steps, it is not fair to ignore it and accuse us repeatedly in various manners on the Human Rights Council in Geneva, the Minister said. The Minister further stated that Sri Lanka is trying to defeat the false accusations leveled against the country. Many friendly countries have joined hands with Sri Lanka in this regard, and Minister expressed confidence that India too will support Sri Lanka this time. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
HDFC Smart Goals. All it takes is 3 years.
And we continue with more local news. The Ministry of Health says that 283 more patients have recovered from COVID-19 and have been discharged from the hospitals. This brings the total number of coronavirus recoveries in Sri Lanka to 86,227. A total of 89,175 confirmed cases of COVID-19 have been reported in Sri Lanka thus far, while 2,410 of them are still under medical care. The total number of vaccinations against COVID-19 in the country stands at 815,585. 58 persons infected with novel coronavirus have been identified within the Battaramulla MOH area. A sudden increase in cases identified in Battaramulla area was due to the virus spreading among several persons at an elders' home in the area, according to the health officials. They said 58 coronavirus-infected persons were identified from the elders' home. Accordingly, a total of 106 fresh cases of COVID-19 was reported yesterday from the Colombo district, which has been notable drop in the cases reported over the past couple of days. Meanwhile, the new cases confirmed yesterday include 66 from Kampha district, 25 from Mathura district, and 101 new infected patients from the remaining 19 districts. The Minister of Environment, Mahida Amaraveera, focuses his attention on the complaints received with regard to the destruction of the Singharaja forest preservation sites. The Minister assured that if the complaints are true, stern actions will be taken against the wrongdoers. The Minister also promised to protect the values of the Singharaja forest reserves. There are around 38,000 hectares of land that come under the said forest reserve site. The Minister also alleged that the opposition and the SJB members are spreading wrong information in this regard. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. The Prime Minister says that Sri Lanka and Bangladesh have a long history of strong bilateral ties. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa also emphasizes that as a neighbour and as a close friend, Sri Lanka stands side by side with Bangladesh to achieve greater freedom and prosperity. Foreign Minister says allegations made against us at the Geneva Human Rights Councils are politically biased. Minister Kehliya Rambukwal alleges that the previous Yahapalana government spent 317 million rupees only for fake propaganda activities. Minister of Environment pays his attention on the complaints received with regard to the destruction of the Singharaja forest preservation sites. Sri Lanka reports 283 more COVID-19 recoveries, 58 COVID-19 cases from an elders' home in Battaramulla. And that was the local news.
Darling, our daughter has top O-level results. Do you know what this means?
Yes, just 3 years and she'll be going abroad for her degree.
For which we'll need a bank loan.
But is a normal loan the smartest option?
What else?
The smartest way is to start an HDFC Smart Goals account.
Let your child begin their degree with no delays. Start an HDFC Smart Goals account. Call 2356 888.
Honey, you're so smart.
HDFC Smart Goals. All it takes is 3 years.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vedha Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedha Mahatmya.
The main news story for tonight, Minister Kehliya Rambukwala says that many aspects of works, plans and the projects of Saubhagya Dakma, Vistas of Prosperity, have already been implemented. The minister also said job opportunities to 100,000 youth programs are being implemented successfully. More than 14,000 houses built at present. The minister alleged that the previous Yahapalana government spent 317 million rupees only for 4 fake propaganda activities. The previous government did not show anything but only limited to words and advertisements. The minister made these remarks at a function held in Jaffna today. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedha Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhaleba.
And in Watchlight tonight, consumers complain that the prices of rice varieties are increased at some private sales outlets. It is understood that some errant traders are increasing the price of rice arbitrarily without considering the government's control prices. This is for the attention of the Consumer Affairs Authority. And that came to you in Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Headlines of the world news. US and China trade angry words at high-level discussions in Alaska. Myanmar protests, BBC journalist Aung Thura detained. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin arrives in India to focus on expansion of strategic ties. Those are the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the world news. US and Chinese officials have exchanged sharp rebukes in the first high-level talks between the Biden administration and China taking place in Alaska. Chinese officials accused the US of inciting countries to attack China, while the US said China had arrived intent of grandstanding. Relations between the two superpowers are at their most strained for years. The US pledges to raise contentious issues such as Beijing's treatment of Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang. A reporter with the BBC Burmese service has been detained in Myanmar as clashes continue between the security forces and protesters. Aung Thura was taken away by men in plain clothes while reporting outside a court in the capital, Naypyidaw. The BBC said in a statement that it was extremely concerned and called on the authorities to help locate him. At least 8 people are reported to have been died in the most recent protests, which took place in several cities. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd J. Austin arrived in India today on a 3-day visit aimed at further boosting bilateral defense and security ties in the wake of China's growing military assertiveness in the region, including the Indo-Pacific. India is the third stop of Mr. Austin's 3-nation first overseas tour, and the visit is seen as a strong commitment of Joe Biden's administrations to its closer allies and partners in the region. And to conclude the world news, the headlines once again. US and China trade angry words at a high-level discussion in Alaska. Myanmar protests, BBC journalist Aung Thura detained. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin arrives in India to focus on expansions of strategic ties. And that was the world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News is brought to you by Nivea along with CIB. Valuable gift vouchers for every bill payment and 20% discount for bank card holders during 16th to 30th March. Our product, our place. CIB.
In development news, a protective boundary of 3,750 mangrove saplings are to be planted in Kathdua in the island of Koggala Lake with the continued support of the Commercial Bank of Ceylon to the Koggala Mangrove Restoration and Conservation Project of the Wildlife and Ocean Resource Conservation of Sri Lanka. The phase 2 of this project follows the immense success of the first phase, during which the bank funded the planting of 2,000 mangrove plants, 750 mangrove associates and 500 terrestrial plants in this 13.5-acre island in Habaradua, which is situated close to Madaldua, the island made famous by Martin Wickramasinghe's novel. The first phase 2 seeks to prevent marsh edge erosion and will continue to utilize the barrel planting method, which proved efficient in the first phase. And that was the development news.
Development News was brought to you by Nivea along with CIB. Valuable gift vouchers for every bill payment and 20% discount for bank card holders during 16th to 30th March. Our product, our place. CIB.
Moving on to sports news, Bangladesh's two-test tour of Sri Lanka is to begin on April 21st with both matches scheduled to be played in Pallekele. The series had originally been slated to be played last October but was postponed after Sri Lanka's health authorities insisted that the touring team needed to spend 14 days in quarantine, to which neither the Bangladeshi Cricket Board nor the Bangladeshi players agreed. And still in cricket news, a T20 semi-final match between Sri Lankan legends and South African legends is being played in Raipur grounds, India. Sri Lanka legends won the toss and elected to bat field first. Accordingly, South African legends were shot out for a mere 125 a short while ago. Sri Lankan legends are batting now. That was the sports news. Business news coming up.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
In business news, Union Insurance was recognized as the most innovative digital insurance company of Sri Lanka and the most innovative digital initiative of Sri Lanka in the year 2021 by the world's renowned business and financial journal, International Business Magazine. The awards were attributed to the many initiatives by Union Insurance to spearhead digital adaptation in the insurance industry through a comprehensive transformation journey that focuses on the digitalization of operations, building capability, and adopting disruptive technology. That was the business news, and economic news follows.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news. Courtesy of
Business deals now easy. It just takes a few taps only. Anytime, get it done, all connected. Best discounts with real time. LOLC Real Time. Now download LOLC Finance Real Time app for your LOLC savings account. Attractive interest rates, transactions anytime, anywhere with a zero cost and no benefits.
And in economic news, State Minister of Money and Capital Markets and State Enterprises Reform Ajit Niwad Cabral and members of the CEO Forum of India had recently had a discussion, and it was disclosed that over 60 CEOs with the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry have started a new program, Shine Sri Lanka, Path to Investments in Sri Lanka. They will also promote Sri Lanka and India as an attractive and a safe destination for investment. They are also developing special brochures and presentation kits under the theme Shine Sri Lanka to promote Indian investments in Sri Lanka. That is economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Congratulations on your promotion. Heard you gave a treat for everyone in your department yesterday.
Yeah.
It will be our treat, huh?
Well, how about today?
Oh, no, I was just joking. We'll have a party with your new salary.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And finally, the weather report. The Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places over most parts of the island during the evening or night. Heavy falls above 100 millimeters can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamuwa and Central provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the Central, Sabaragamuwa and Western provinces during the morning hours too. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. And before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. The Prime Minister says Sri Lanka and Bangladesh have a long history of strong bilateral ties. Prime Minister Mahinda also emphasizes that as a neighbour and a close friend, Sri Lanka stands side by side with Bangladesh to achieve greater freedom and prosperity. Foreign Minister says allegations made against us at the Geneva Human Rights Council are politically biased. Minister Kelly Rambukpale alleges that the previous Yahapalane government spent 317 million rupees only for fake propaganda activities. Minister of Environment pays his attention on the complaints received with regard to the destruction of Singharaja forest preservation sites. Sri Lanka reports 283 more COVID-19 recoveries. 58 COVID-19 cases from an elders' home in Battaramulla. News overseas, US and China trade angry words at a high-level discussion in Alaska. And in sports news, Pallekele to host 2 Sri Lanka-Bangladesh tests starting on 21st of April. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news, and now it's back to your wonderful duo on the other side of the glass panel on a Friday night, Indrani Senanayaka and Victor Raj, to keep you entertained.